Greetings, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for a special report. I had another discussion with Jimmy, and we discussed a bit about Nim, the android, as well as Gregory at Tim Hortons. And this is another update regarding a private session that I had with Jimmy. But you'll notice that we also discussed briefly some information regarding Draco's, the Alpha Centurion, and we also talk about, what's going on in our government and a few other little pieces of information here and there. So stay tuned, keep listening, and this is an update to keep you informed.
Was that LA you were clearing? Or another part of California?
No, it was up north, like Canada. It was Canada.
Oh, but you said
Vancouver. Then I was looking at
California.
Vancouver from Fort Myers.
Oh, but earlier you said something about California.
I was looking at Seattle.
Oh yeah, Seattle and California's a hotbed for this shit too.
Yeah, I know, but what I was saying is when the whole thing happened with California, then they took out some of these Dracos, so that some of them are dead already.
Oh, good.
It's probably why the fires stopped.
Well, they took out a whole city just about, didn't they? Paradise?
Oh, the Alpha Centurions did that. Ooh. And they just told me, don't take them out of there. Let them sit there. It's almost like so the others can see that they're dead.
What?
All right.
What did the Alpha Centurions do?
They went after the Dracos.
Oh.
For the fires, because remember, David Wilcock mentioned how they were over in Paradise. Now, right. I drove through Paradise when I went and visited California.
Uh-huh.
But I didn't know that they actually had a settlement there. I mean, it's possible. I don't know if I believe 100% David Wilcock, but it's very possible.
There's a bunch of gold under there.
Yeah, there's gold there. Yep.
And they had underground bases there too.
Yeah.
So that's what they took out. All the Dracos underneath Paradise.
No, I guess they found a large base by Seattle.
Uh-huh. They probably had Jimmy there a time or two.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it.
I give him and you protection every day from anybody messing with your energies or harming you in any way. Thank you, Alpha Centurions.
Yeah, they're helping us.
Thanks.
And I said this before. I said this, a couple years ago. The Alpha Centurions are, very powerful warriors. And they have a presence here.
And they're working with us.
Yep.
That's cool. Like the Solipsi Ray.
Yeah. Solipsi Ray help us. So that's part of the Council of Five.
They said they like me too.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, they like you because you're awakened and you're here to help. Okay, so I'm sensing Nim.
Oh yeah?
All right, so tell me what happened over at Tim Hortons since the last time we talked.
Okay, well, really nothing. I've run into him a couple of times, and he was sitting out in the more open area where more people are. And yesterday it was really crowded in there. Just about every table was taken. But he was sitting there and just in his own little world, talking into his phone. And it seemed like he was taking notes from, like he was talking into the phone, but it didn't sound like he was having a conversation with anyone. He was just, I don't know if he was recording what he was saying, and he was kind of loud too, but everybody in the restaurant acted like they didn't hear him or see him. And I'm sitting there behind him, and he waved at me, but we didn't even speak. And I just ate and left. That was yesterday. And a couple days ago, I saw him in there, and I wished him a happy birthday because he told me last Friday was his birthday, and I hadn't seen him since then. So uh,
Something's going on with the sound. I can't hear you.
there was no interaction between me and him except for me wishing him happy birthday.
And then what did he say?
I told him my birthday was this Friday, and he wished me a happy birthday, and I think we shook hands, and that was it. But it seems like the people in the restaurant don't even see him there. I mean, they don't react. They don't stare at him. They don't. Nobody talks to him. He doesn't. I don't see him speaking to anybody else. Could he be like an illusion that only I am seeing?
No, he's able to, like, kind of mask what he's doing.
Hmm. Yeah, he didn't have all his stuff with him yesterday. All the stuff he has when he sits over to the side, and he had all the rocks and the pictures and phones and papers, and he didn't have. He still had some papers, but I couldn't really tell what he was doing. It was just he acted like he didn't even notice me yesterday. He was so into what he was doing, and I'm kind of weird.
What was he doing?
Well, he was like I said, he was talking loud into his phone, and then he was writing stuff down like he was taking notes on something.
Did you pick up anything that he was saying?
No, because he doesn't, when he's talking, it doesn't make any sense to me. I can't really make out what he's saying. I hear him talking and it's loud, but or it gets loud at times, and then he'll quiet down, not make a sound, and he'd be writing stuff down. He had a cup of water with him that was half full again. But really not much to report on that part, Jess. But what is NIM coming in for?
All right, Nim said that Gregory is having a hard time with your presence.
With my presence?
Because you've been talking about him. He's not happy that you've been talking about him.
To you?
Yeah.
Oh, and putting out these shows?
Yeah, I think he's not happy about it. Because he has to create more kind of frequency or illusion that people can't see him. I'm going to ask Nim what's the status of everything that's going on. He said that we're having trouble pulled in more than one direction. He almost said 4 directions.
Wow.
To be exact. Andronicus is trying to instruct us on the ones you call the Cabal are influencing many of our people because of we're on this dimension and system. So I think he's talking about like how if they look like they're transient, and that they're being, the laws are trying to enforce them and they don't understand it.
What?
Like, like you can't just like standing around in certain places and doing some of the things that they're doing. And the police are correcting them,
Uh-huh.
or if they're homeless, whatever, forcing them to go to shelters or places like that. They don't like the system. They're calling it the cabal.
Right. Well, that's who they were working for, though.
No, they were working for Mobius, because then Mobius then is also telling them what they need to do. But when they do that, they come up against an obstruction of the system on the earth, the legal system, like the laws, and they don't have the laws were not inputted into their thinking, so they don't have it memorized because they were supposed to learn and collect data on the laws, and that's not something that was part of their information. So when they first, how they were kind of created in a way was for to be able to go into like a planet or a space and just create a society that has certain guidelines and rules that they understand. They're trying to have that same attitude in our society. And then, of course, Canada is different from the U.S. The U.S. is different from Europe. You know what I mean? And Asia is different from, Japan's different from Canada. So you have all these different, and they're trying to work off of their system. So it's requiring another type of programming that was never fully implemented. And that's why it's kind of like slipshod, it's this kind of not a highly effective.
Well, I consider Mobius part of the cabal, Jess.
No, Mobius is working independently of the cabal. The cabal is essentially creating systems within our nations.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the systems. It's the infrastructure that we understand, that we don't think anything about, but you learn it as you grow up. You can't drive through a red light. You can't, steal. You can't, do certain things. Whereas their system is, if you need something, you take it, and in order to assist whatever goal it is that you need to experience. So they have like a whole different philosophy that's built in. And so as they're learning, they're going into the cities and they're trying to absorb the information.
Mm-hmm.
But they're running into this problem. So there's 4 systems. So I'll say cabal, meaning the system itself, government systems. Mobius, who brought them in. Andronicus, who's trying to get them to instruct them to go in the right place. And then there's another.
Nazis. Fourth Reich.
I'm not getting an answer on this one. What the last one is. Nim, what is the last one? Can't talk about it. So it sounds like he's under duress, like he can get hurt or threatened to be
turned off.
Yeah. Annihilation. He's saying annihilation. Annihilation.
When you talk to him, what is it is it a soul you're speaking with?
No.
Consciousness, artificial intelligence, or
yeah.
Oh, AI.
Well, I don't know if it's just AI. They're probably in some reality they're considered normal, but for here they're not flesh and blood like we know.
Right.
But they're not the AI that like Elon Musk is making.
But I mean, when you speak to beings like this, you're speaking spirit, you know, to your spirit to their spirit, right?
Um, it's more of a mental interaction. I don't want to get my spirit involved in this.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just trying to figure out, you know, when you communicate with like Nim, are you
I
talking?
don't I don't usually I will not communicate with AI. So just to clear
Oh,
that, and I know that they're androids, but we're talking light years into the future tech. So in some ways, it could be a basis of the human form with something missing. So I don't see them as necessarily right or wrong, but they're giving me, I mean, or good or bad. I'll take that back. They're giving me information. We have to get them off the planet. The only reason I'm talking to them.
right.
So I'm not interfacing with AI. No, I don't recommend that with anyone because it can take over. This is not invasive.
But they agree that they want to get out of here too.
Yes. They
Okay.
know that they don't belong here. They know that they were put in this space. They're trying to conduct um, certain tasks that are requested of them, but it's not feasible because of these other systems. So they're having frustration, and then there's some of the androids are either self-shutting down or being shut down.
Hmm.
So there's different things that are going on too. They're showing me. Some of them, I think he's showing me some of those images that I've seen on YouTube where there's people that are like androids. They just stare into the TV screen, or like people that are on television, and then they just get into a weird stare,
Hmm.
like they just shut down.
Yeah. Like they're in a trance.
Yeah. These may be androids, and that maybe this other party that we can't mention is shutting them down, or even the cabal is shutting them down. Someone, more than one, has figured out how to shut them down and break their system. It's really weird.
Huh. Well, is there anything I should keep in mind when I deal with Gregory now if he's pissed at me or what? I don't.
Just be neutral with them, and when you're sitting there, remember he knows what you're thinking and feeling.
Hmm.
And at some point, you'll be able to hear what he's saying because he's deliberately creating a mask so no one knows what's going on. Because it's kind of strange. I know that you're a very observant person, and you really pay attention to everything. And for you to, when someone says something to you, well, or from my experience in talking to you, you usually will say something pretty much literal of what they had said in response. Like you
Right.
can repeat it, you're
Hmm.
aware. So when you say to me that you are not, he's talking loud, but you don't know what he's saying, it doesn't make any sense, does it?
Well, it just sounds like he's saying nonsense into the phone to me. Like I don't hear anything that makes sense.
Like, is it um, something with the language or
No,
word?
it's English, but I mean, I just can't tell what the subject he's talking about or make any sense out of any sentence that he
Does he
speaks.
say anything like, and this is what I'm talking about, or does he say anything like, and
Yeah,
that's what I did yesterday?
yeah. He said, I'll catch uh, a phrase like that, like this is what I'm talking about, or like that. But then I didn't hear what he said before that, so I really it didn't go together. And he was really into what he was saying yesterday, but I
He got loud.
yeah, it did get loud a couple times, but it wasn't it
But no
wasn't
one else notices
yeah,
it.
no, it wasn't getting anyone else's attention, and no one seemed interested or you know fixating on him at all, except me. I was I had the TV in front of me, and I was just a few feet away from him, but he had his back to me, and I don't know if he even saw me. But like you said, he knew what I was thinking and everything while I was sitting there. So and I was trying to trying to understand what he was saying, but I couldn't. But I'm trying not to be too obvious either. That I'm trying to pick up what he's doing.
I think China is also somehow tuning into them.
Hmm. Maybe China brought him in,
No,
or no, Mobius did.
yeah, but there's another group that China's working with, another ET group, and that's the one that's giving them a hard time. Oh, I see. All right, so because they want to do the right thing, but this other group is trying to persuade them to do some bad stuff.
Oh, China wants to do the right thing,
No,
or the androids.
the androids want to do the right thing, but this species that's working with China is very negative. I'm thinking that they've hijacked China in a way.
Reiko.
No, I don't know who it is. I'm trying to see. Oh, this is bad.
Hmm.
I don't know if it's reptilian.
Dragon, maybe.
No, no. Dragons work with us.
Well, the dragons have an influence in China, though, don't they?
Yeah. But China has brought in a lot of good. You know,
Right.
they have
I'm not against China, but
a lot of wonderful things that they've brought into this world, and a lot of it they haven't even yet shared with this world yet, and some of their ancient secrets. Regarding health and wellness and all that, understanding the body, and
right.
they didn't forget a lot of stuff that some of our early ancestors seem to have lost. You know.
Well, they want us to be healthy, so that's
Well,
what.
they want, they understand longevity and all this other stuff, and they also have a healthy relationship and understanding with the extraterrestrials. But maybe something has stepped in and has influenced China, because I know that China they're industrious. They've done a lot. They also have this whole debt thing. I don't know what. They say that they're taking over California and all that because of debt, but
Why?
In Hawaii and all that, which doesn't seem right to me. It doesn't seem right at all. Like I said, if the presidential candidates at the time made those agreements, then they can pay off the debt.
Right.
Because they made the agreement without the permission of the American people, and that doesn't mean that we give over our country to another country just because they decide to make a little pocket deal. So
Yep.
they need to put up. I mean, Clinton, Obama, they got plenty of money. They can pay off whatever it is that they owe now, because spiritually I'm making them accountable for it.
Don't forget about the Bushes now.
And the Bushes, that all those political leaders who were in office that got us in debt, that are thinking that they're not responsible, are responsible. And hey, that's something that they chose. I didn't choose that for them. That was their decision. But anything that happens regarding harm coming to the American people is going to fall on those who made these decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't consent, we didn't agree, and those innocent people that died because of a shady deal that went on is not something that the rest of the Americans should have to deal with. I mean, there's a lot of things that have happened under the blanket name of the United States. A lot of agreements and decisions that we did not consent to. We didn't give permission. We didn't vote on, and even if we did vote on it, many don't believe that the votes accepted 100%. So, and we understand that there are systems that are in place that are trying to manipulate and set up a scenario for a war.
Right.
But that's what needs. If people need to wake up and say, "Hey, listen, there's certain personalities that are making these choices. Those are the ones that need to pay for it, resolve it, take care of it, and be accountable for it." So, and I know people don't really like when I say stuff like this, but that's really too bad.
Well,
someone has to say it the right way.
Right. Well, Russia and China have been buying up our bonds and our instruments, T-bills and stuff like that, and have a large stake in our country from all these instruments they've been buying.
Technically, so the U.S. is a melting pot of everything. There's Chinese people here. There's Russian people here. There is a representative group of every single culture in the world. Mm-hmm. So no one technically really owns the United States. Technically, it's a global place. However, there is a system that it has to be done. This is why the whole thing it has to be done legally. People have to come in through the correct doors. You have to be honest. If you want to be a part of the system, then you have to pay into the system a bit. That's not going to be popular either, but I do pay my taxes. And people say, well, you don't have to pay taxes. Well, right or wrong, on my own right conscience, I've always paid taxes only because I do want to see the roads taken care of, the school systems. I have a son who went through the school system and all of these other things. And I know that that's not popular, and I'm not saying if those people that didn't pay the tax, believe me, I don't work for the IRS, I don't really care. But I will say that what they do with the money is then consciously on their hands. If they take my sincere money, and because money's energy, I don't really care about what happens, and I just do what I'm supposed to do, and then that's it. But they take that money, right? Uh-huh. And then they misuse it and do some drug deals with it, or take it to some European vacation for somebody, or put it in some kind of fund that supports a pedophilia ring or something like that. I mean, that's on their head. And that stuff comes back around. So I don't worry about it. I just do whatever I'm supposed to do, and I try to be honest, try to set an example, for my son, try to do the right thing. And some people might say I'm naive and stupid or whatever, but I don't really care. I think that somewhere and that's why a nation, those that are part of a nation, are there because there's the blood, sweat, and tears that goes into it. Your family came over here, worked hard. My family came over here, worked hard, right? And they helped build a nation. That doesn't mean that someone could just come over and say, "Hey, we bought it now. We're coming over and taking over." No, whoever made the deal, we didn't make the deal. We have an investment in this nation because our families were here for a long time. Well, I don't even have I'm not even from the blue blood group that came over here. I'm just from a basic, working class family. So
I understand that we're bankrupt, and China and Russia are
but we didn't make that agreement.
I know.
All right, it's like someone come in and you have a car, right? It's your car. But someone decides that they're going to act as if they're the owner of your car, and then they're going to borrow all sorts of money And then they're going to turn around and tell someone else, say, well, I guess I owe you money. I just blew it on some kind of, gambling debt. But you could take his car. You could take his car because I know I haven't paid off the debt. So here, take his car. I'm not going to take it out of my pocket. Someone else is going to have to carry this. Right?
Right.
That's essentially what's been going on. And I don't know why it's allowed.
So what were you seeing in China that you said wasn't good?
I don't know. There's another species that's controlling them, manipulating them. Maybe they got into the leadership.
What species is this?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
What about your guides?
It looks like reptilians, but it seems like something else going on. I don't know. Maybe they got into the greed. As soon as you drop vibration, other things start to influence. It's happened in our nation. It's happened in other nations. And we know what's going on in France. It's the same thing. I mean, I've said this from the beginning. Dionysus is involved. Nobody wants to believe that Dionysus exists. And then he was even in the parallels going under the name of Leonard Crumb. He was ruling the galaxy from Jupiter. I know that nobody believes this stuff. It's very bizarre and crazy, but
he's not doing it anymore, though?
He's moving through Macron.
Oh. Well, he's a puppet of the...
Well, and just look at Macron's lifestyle. It's everything Dionysus. Everything. I mean, Versailles still has all the gods there. People think, oh, just because you make believe that only thing that exists here are the Christian setup, or some of these mainstream religions. Just because a religion's very vast and big, doesn't mean that they're the only ones that have any truth in it. Every single belief system that's ever been on this planet has those beings, those deities. They exist, and Dionysus is holding on, and he's using Macron to do it as his hook into this reality. And
Macron is a cabal stooge. I mean, big time.
Yes and no. I mean, from what I see, if he's working with Dionysus, so then he's maybe under the cabal or Rothschild, but yet over them.
Mm.
If he's working with Dionysus, trust me, Dionysus is not going to be under the cabal. He could run the galaxy for a while. I mean, he did. And he's gone under the name of Apollyon. He's got, what's the other one? Abaddon. He has many different trendy names, whatever's popular at the time.
Huh.
If you look at Macron's lifestyle, it really reflects the whole modality of Dionysus. And I said this years ago. Dionysus is in France. He's messing around. And then the fires, all this other stuff.
So you're saying Macron is Dionysus?
Dionysus is moving through him, not 100%. But he's open. He's open to him.
Oh.
That means that they choose a body that they want to move through.
So they're the people are trying to put him out now, aren't they? Isn't that what this protest is about?
Yeah, everyone's tired of Dionysus because Dionysus only thinks about he's hedonistic. He's a narcissist. He just thinks of pleasure. He doesn't care, and if anyone kind of gets in the way of that, and just Well, I even caught Dionysus creating. He took out this Sirius ship. And was taking their tech and then tried to bring in a group of fake Egyptian deities.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is garbage.
I think I was involved in some of that too.
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of the everyone, there was this huge thing with Thoth and the Emerald Tablets and all this other stuff. Which Thoth? People's like, well, you shouldn't be against Thoth. It's against, you're not a good New Ager. But I mean, which one are you talking about? That they don't realize that there's more than one, that they've been replicated, just like even some of the leaders here have been replicated. But there are certain beings that are a lot more powerful than people realize. And Dionysus always played off like he's this kind of ingenue, or is that what you call it? Ingenue, kind of like a boy-girl type of thing. And he's young and attractive, and every male and female both like it and interested in him. And it's all about that. And if you see that kind of energy where it's sort of that in between or whatever, and it's like, you're not really sure.
Androgyny or androgyn.
Sort of androgynous, but it's not just about being androgynous. It's just who he is.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been that way for a long time, way before any of this other stuff came out. And he doesn't believe in politics. He doesn't believe in any kind of structure. He believes in just pleasure and what feeds his desires, and that's it. And to the point where everything can be pushed aside. He doesn't care. He wants the world to exist, but on his terms.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you're dealing with that. That's why you see, people get into politics and power or whatever. And, maybe initially they had some intent, they can make change, they can do this and that. And then he comes in with temptations. Because he wants to maintain the status quo. He likes it like this. There are certain species that like it this way, the same as the Dracos, like we were talking about earlier. The Dracos like this whole scenario because then they can kind of play this whole thing out. And keep us here, continue illusion, stepping into bodies, doing whatever it is that they like. So that's why they're trying to hold us back from raising consciousness. And when we raise from consciousness, that is going to be it for some of them.
It's their heaven. This is what they like. This is what they choose, and they want to continue it. And they don't care whether we like it or not.
No, they don't. I mean, I would say that the Dracos are very parasitical, extremely parasitical. They're just latching on. It's like the goblins, also latching on to beings, and then the beings take them into a higher dimension where they don't belong. People don't think that happens, but it happens all the time. That's why we're in this mess. If it didn't happen, it wouldn't be that way. The people that are too closed-minded into their New Age teachings, and they're not willing to step out, and that is also holding us back because they can't think outside of the box. It's just like being trapped in a religious belief. You have to start thinking of other possibilities of why there's a problem. Nim is satisfied. He said thank you, and he waved. He has to go. I think he's saying that this information is something that he wants us to share.
Does he have any parting words?
He said something about don't go for the light beam.
You know what he means by that?
Yeah, it's a spacecraft. It looks like don't get abducted.
Am I in danger of being abducted?
Yeah. Yeah, well, you got caught the last time.
Yeah. I'm not looking for another one of those, though.
No.
Now, I'm a little bit more aware of what's going on in the world now than I was then, though. But is there someone coming after me? Is that...
No, I think it's still the area is not quite cleared out yet.
But this light beam, BEAM, is that what he said?
Yeah,
Don't go for the light beam.
beam.
Huh?
Like it's like a beam of light.
Beam of light. Okay, but
You know, like that comes out of a spacecraft that they use to kind of, I don't know if the light is the ability to abduct someone with. It's an energy field, maybe.
well, when they abducted me before, I had no idea I was being abducted. I didn't go for any light beam or anything. I just stood there and they took me. So oh,
Yeah, I know. Maybe I don't know. That's what he said. You asked me what he said. That's what he said.
no, I'm just trying to get some. I, you know, if there's something that I should avoid today, or you know, I want to be around for my birthday tomorrow. You know.
Oh God.
It sounds like he might have seen something going on with me or something.
Well, I'm asking for protections, then maybe he's giving us a forewarning.
Oh,
All right. Let me see if there's a. I'm asking a protective shield for everyone on the planet, including you. So that people will not be taken against their will. And to neutralize any and all species that are trying to, species or corporations or whatever is trying to initiate anything that is harmful to humans, and ask that their intentions are thwarted, that they have.
I'm putting my power behind you, Jess.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, we ask for peace, especially in the dream state where a lot of people have been hijacked and neutralizing labs and all these other things that are harmful to humans.
Hijacked in my dream state because I don't remember anything.
Yeah. And so it is done. It's a beautiful protective shield for those that want it. They have to receive it consciously, receive the protection. Those that choose to be out from under it, away from it, and be more vulnerable, that's their choice. No, I don't override free will.
Right.
Way. So
I thankfully accept your protection. Thank you, Jess.
Yeah, you're welcome. I think we all could use some of it these days. I see Rodan, so that's good. Well, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts?
Ooh. Don't go for the light beam.